How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to Steelrising Let's Play Part 23. So, as you can see, we are in Luxembourg and knee-deep in a side quest. So, funny story.
It's a nice hiding place. A fight took place here.
I recorded episode 23, where we left off in the convent, and it was basically 28 minutes of dialogue and me getting side quests there. That episode...
Whose king could this be? Perhaps the guests at the Cordelier can enlighten me.
That episode... she kept interrupting me. That episode got corrupted, and I figured 28 minutes of dialogue... ain't nobody got time for that. So I ran around basically and did a bunch of these side missions. I figured if I recorded them all, it would basically be, 4 or 5 episodes of me running around and doing the side missions, and wouldn't be that entertaining on it, honestly. So basically what I'm doing here in this video is kind of taking the most intriguing parts of the side missions. So basically, these, I'm not sure why they're side missions. They have direct tie-ins to the main story. This one in particular, we're back in the Tuileries, I believe, and we are chasing down echoes. In particular, we are going to have a direct tie-in with, I forget what his name is, Cagliostro? Yeah. The guy kind of pulling all the strings on everything. So, that's going to occur here in a minute. We have to go through a sewer area right down here to get on the other side to get into a workshop to get some items. So most of these side missions weren't that interesting, honestly. They're basically side missions, oh, go check on this safe, go check the whereabouts of my wife, and I'm like, I'm not your errand robot, but anyway, some of them were actually pretty cool. You got some new weapons and whatnot, and I will I'll definitely show those off in the next part 24 in the next video. So overall, it wasn't bad. I just figured, it was gonna take a while. Like, I had to run back to Luxembourg, back to Les Invalides, back to the Tuileries, La Cité. So yeah, it was just a lot of running around and like backtracking through areas. But some of the cool parts about that were that some of the areas that you could see previously that you couldn't gain access to, you're like, how do I get over there? Or, whatever, there's a locked door over here and I don't know how to get to it. Like, some of those areas kind of open up with these side quests because that's what they're for. You gain access to them through the side quests. Some of them you can access with the special abilities from the bosses. But once you actually activate these side quests, then you get access to those areas. So it's kind of cool. Mostly just running from enemies, not fighting too many. I got a couple levels out of it. Because some of them are just like little small areas, and others are like this where it's an extension of the area and you're fighting through it and stuff like that. So wasn't too bad. Took a little bit of time, but overall it's just kind of odd the way they did it, especially with this stuff having being side missions and having a direct tie into the main story. I don't know if you got to a certain point, if you actually skipped this stuff, if they forced you to do these, because as you'll see here, there's some pretty big reveals. And I thought it was pretty interesting. So, I'm not sure. But you did get, you know, doing all the side stuff, you did get some achievements and, like I said, some new weapons and stuff like that. So, it was definitely worth it. I generally like to do that anyway, you know, if I'll do the main story stuff, and as I see side missions pop up, I'll do those, knock those out, and then just kind of continue with the main story. So this guy was fun with the electricity and the water, but got through him. Not sure why that other episode got corrupted, but like I said, it was 28 minutes of dialogue picking up all the side quests, which is kind of crazy. So I'm not a huge history buff, but you know, I didn't hate history, so you know, some of the stuff was kind of interesting. And then just the, you know, the fetching stuff is typical. You know, oh, go fetch this, go fetch that. We did open pretty much all the areas of the Louvre as well, which is cool, because there were some other areas over there, like I said, couldn't figure out how to get to, and then you could magically when you're doing these side missions, which is kind of funny. Some of them led you through, you know, doors and stuff you could kick, and then other ones actually just like there used to be a wall there, and then magically there was an opening that you could like walk through. It was kind of funny, but yeah. So we're about to exit the sewers here, and go up to the workshop, and we're gonna get a new weapon up there. It's kind of cool. And some of these quests too gave some of the higher tier weapon upgrade materials too. So definitely worth doing. I mean, if you're playing along, you know, you spent $50 on the game. Why not do everything in the game? You know. Just gotta get past these couple guys here. The fire and ice weapon is it's pretty nasty. Doing a lot of damage, a lot of immobilization. Still want to get I hope we get a grade 2 immobilization module pretty soon, because that's going to be pretty nasty too. Okay, so this is Atanaeus Vaucanson's daughter.
You monster. What do you want with me? Wasn't it enough for you to steal my dancer?
I'm merely obeying the king, mademoiselle. Don't be afraid. You and your beloved machine will soon be reunited. I give you my word. Voila, here we are. Do you see that window? That's where she's waiting for you. Sale petite peste. I suggest you don't try that again.
Anyone have a feeling that they know what's coming. Because I saw that. I kind of had a feeling before. And then I saw that and I'm like, oh, I think I know what's coming.
I should show it to Abbé Grégoire.
Thousand cut claws. So like the other claw weapons, once you level them up, they actually get they're gonna get a S scaling in agility. Look at that. It does some pretty nasty damage too.
So that is the name that the Comte de Cagliostro uses to conduct his business discreetly.
Just collecting all the notes.
You're so beautiful. You'll stay with me always, n'est-ce pas? Without you, mon ami, I'd be all alone.
This box is covered in astronomical symbols. It's no use. I can't get it open. I should show this to Monsieur B.
Okay, so now we're going back to the convent. Do exactly that.
Can I help you, Aegis?
What is the significance of these objects steeped in memories?
Nemes. I have reread every work that I have on them. Pages that have remained unintelligible to this day. These echoes go back to the beginning of time, to that fateful day in ancient Greece when some dark magician took it into his head to bind a soul to an inanimate object. You see, Aegis, there is nothing more diabolical, nothing more unnatural than this sorcery. The soul is the very essence of the divine. It refuses to submit to such an abomination and resists. eventually breaking. The earliest necromancers whose works have survived through the centuries all describe the same phenomenon. When a soul is fragmented, 3 shards of memory are torn from its consciousness and take shelter in 3 objects that the victim held dear. It's as if these memories wish to remain bound to the mortal who had held them until then.
I found this notebook written in Latin.
Indeed. Medieval Latin, to be precise. Oh, hold on. Bon sang. Aegis, what a find. This handwriting. I would recognize it anywhere. It's in Nicholas Flamel's own hand. Give me some time to study this, and I'll tell you what I'm able to glean from it.
Have you finished reading the notebook, mon père?
Yes, Aegis, and what I learned from it puzzles me. In this diary, Flamel tells of 3 journeys. 3 journeys into what he calls the in-between. A strange world filled with wandering souls. Tormented spirits that are unable to ascend to heaven.
This world. It's where Cagliostro's victims were trapped until I freed them.
En effet, I believe you're right. But that's not all. Flamel planned to return there a 4th time. He wrote this in the final paragraph, in his handwriting, dated 21st of March 1418. That was the day before he died, Aegis. What if his body died while his soul was traveling through limbo? What if he were trapped, a prisoner in this purgatory? Aegis, because of your unique nature, we have an incredible opportunity.
What do you mean, mon père?
If the soul that animates you has been bound to the automaton that serves as its vessel, then it can be separated from it too. And if this were the case, the soul would travel to purgatory, where Cagliostro entraps the souls of his victims.
Hold on. Are you trying to convince me to go and find Nicholas Flamel?
I'm offering you a chance to speak to the man who discovered the Philosopher's Stone. Surely you won't pass it up.
Assuming I agree to venture into purgatory, do I even have a chance of finding him there?
Certainly. According to this journal, the soul flies to the zenith of the place where it left the body of the deceased. Or that of the pilgrim, in this case. If Flamel's soul is trapped in purgatory, as we've guessed, you'll need to go to the house where he drew his dying breath.
Is it still standing?
Of course. It's on Rue de Montmorency, in the quartier de l'Hôtel de Ville. You can get there via the cemetery of the Église Saint-Jacques.
And how do you plan to free my spirit from this automat?
We would simply need to break the bond between them. To do this, we would need to stop your machinery. For a short time, of course. We don't want to lose you, ma chère. As for the rest, it will be a question of mechanics, chemistry, or electric currents, or something or other. Therein lies the problem. This is far beyond my comprehension. But it is fascinating, isn't it? Perhaps Monsieur Bailly and Monsieur Lavoisier could shed some light on the matter.
Goodbye, mon père. Monsieur Bailly. I found this box with astronomical symbols on it. I believe it belongs to Vaucanson's daughter.
Athenais' secret box. I built it with my own hands. It was my gift to her on her 15th birthday.
I wasn't able to open it.
Naturellement. Athenais and I are the only ones who know how. Allow me. You must arrange the planets the way they were aligned on the day of Athenais' birth. Voila, like this.
What's this locket?
Athenais is always wearing this. It contains a portrait of her late mother. She said it was her most cherished possession in all the world. To think, the poor child never knew her own mother.
You monster! What did you do to her?
How about that shit, huh?
Lydia, what happened? You froze the moment you touched the locket. I thought I'd lost you.
I saw her. Aegis de Vaucanson. The Comte de Cagliostro has her.
Mon Dieu. It is just as I feared.
He bound her spirit to an automat.
Please, say no more. Aegis. It is her spirit that animates you. Is it not?
Yes. I believe so.
Seigneur, quelle abomination. It is vital that you go and find Aegis as soon as possible.
She is right in front of you. I am Aegis.
Alas, I fear that is not entirely accurate. You know nothing of Aegis, Lydia. Nothing of her past, her joys, her suffering. Nothing of her love for her father. You are but the vessel that harbors the poor child's soul.
Where can I find Aegis's body?
God only knows. Although I assume that the Comte de Cagliostro is taking pains to keep her alive, this is certainly the only way to keep her spirit alive in you. The only way to free her is to find her body.
Why was Eugène de Vaucanson imprisoned in the Bastille?
Once he discovered the king's true intentions, he refused to continue cooperating with him. He refused to use his talents to create this abominable army. But the king didn't take kindly to his resignation. Eugène did manage to get a letter to me just before he was arrested. Here, take it.
Monsieur Lavoisier.
What can I do for you, Aegis?
Do you think there is any way to interrupt my internal clockwork?
To what end?
I would like to briefly sever the bond between my spirit and this automat.
It is a very strange request, madame. For what purpose do you seek to free your soul from its shell?
According to the abbot, my spirit would then be able to visit purgatory.
Oh, that dreadful place. Why on earth would you want to go there?
I hope to find answers to some very important questions.
You must understand, madame, that your very nature is a mystery to us. We are ignorant as to the principle that imbues you with life, nor do we know how your machinery works. That is why it is impossible for us to make even the slightest alteration. It would mean taking an unacceptable risk. Of course, if we had documents that could shed light on the matter.
Antoine, the blueprints.
What blueprints, mon ami?
Lydia's. Eugène gave them to me when he was working on the modifications ordered by the king. He wanted my opinion on the potential for reducing the size of certain key parts. The documents are obsolete now, but they could tell us quite a bit about the mechanical principles that are shared by Lydia and Aegis.
Bon sang, you're right. Where are the blueprints now?
Alas, the situation is not in our favor. I kept them in the safe at the observatory, but earlier, when I went there to collect my most important documents, before setting off for the convent, I found looters making off with its contents.
Blasted scavengers. Their kind are always quick to make the most of chaos.
I chased them to the quays, but was unable to apprehend them. When they disappeared into an underground passageway under the Louvre, I decided it was best not to follow them.
You acted wisely, mon ami. The automats are everywhere, and the marauders don't stand much of a chance.
I'll try to track them down. Goodbye, Monsieur Lavoisier.
Alright, so now we are in a crypt in Les Invalides. This is, I believe, behind the Wrecking Ball guy, right near that mini-boss from part 21, I think. The gate was locked, but they gave us the key for that. So in here we're looking for the blueprints for Aegis, or Lydia, as what she was called before.
Monsieur Bailly will be delighted.
So there's some correspondence there from the carriage. Now we're gonna talk to him again at the convent.
asked for.
Good heavens. You found them.
Your thieves were not able to profit much from their theft. They met with an unfortunate end.
Oh, the poor souls. Their crimes did not deserve such a permanent ending.
Certainly, certainly. Let us look at these documents now, if you will.
No, Antoine, the F-wheel is not part of the cog that transfers the driving force to the escapement.
Diable, you're right. It's driven by the B-wheel, and its axis is on the shaft that's visible at this point.
Precisely. In fact, the shaft sits between the conical bearing and the small groove here. See?
True. It's decided then. All we would have to do is separate these two plates to disable the entire thing.
And to put them back in place at the agreed time to start the machine again.
You will not be able to assist me. I have to do it alone. Half a league away.
You must be joking.
By no means. You'll have to find another solution.
Unfortunately, madame, you're asking us to do the impossible.
Oh, ça, par exemple.
Once your spirit is untethered from this automat, it will be impossible for you to start the machine up again.
Hold on, my dear Antoine. Is this device in Figure 4? Is it still in place?
Yes, it is. What of it?
Bon sang. It's a timer. It's primitive, true, but fully functional.
The dial has marks from 1 to 15. Probably minutes.
It was to allow Eugène to plan the duration of Ludia's dances in advance.
Oh, I see. And by reversing the position of this peg in the center, we could instead turn it into a period of inactivity.
Nous y sommes, mon ami. Fantastic.
Will Aegis be able to operate this device herself?
We'll make it easier for her. All you have to do is put a bolt there that she can remove when the time is right. Yes, a small iron rod will suffice. We won't have any trouble finding something that will do. When the timer dial reaches 0, the automat will come back to life. However, given the dial's fragility, we will probably get only one chance to try this.
Are you sure that the bond between my soul and this machine will be re-established?
Ma foi, I admit that we can't be sure of this. What do you say, mon père?
Don't be afraid, Aegis. Unless I've been wrong from the beginning, your soul will seek refuge in the only body it has available to it in this world.
Well then, shall we start the preparations?
Let's begin. My fate is in your hands, monsieur.
Voila. Everything is in place. When it's time, just pull on this metal loop to start the timer.
Remember, you will have 15 minutes and no more before your spirit returns to your body. We wish you good luck, madame.
Remember, to get to Rue de Montmorency, you're best going through the cemetery behind the Église Saint-Jacques in the Quartier de l'Hôtel de Ville. Here is the key to the gate. Our prayers are with you, my child.
Okay, so the key that I was talking about previously that they just gave to us. I mixed the two locations up, sorry about that. So now we're going down to potentially do this out-of-body experience to go into quote-unquote purgatory to talk to the spirit of Nicholas Flamel. So here we go.
Monsieur.
Zounds! Praise be to the Holy Mother of our Lord, at last thou speakest! Gentle dame, you have erred here for so long, not a word uttered. In singular contemplation of such terrible slaughter.
A long time, you say? That's not possible, sir. I've just now appeared to you.
Nay, thou must trust me. And thou wast hardly alone in this limbo. There were many travelers, stiff and silent, all in agony, all bound to the anchor stone.
What travelers do you speak of?
The first to arrive was a sobbing child, searching for his mother. After him, many a damned soul carrying their own heads in hand. Then, those whose thoughts passed through me. A minister of God, tormented by doubt.
Hold on. A minister of God? Monsignor de la Fare?
A scholar with soul star-filled, and a learned master of alchemy.
Monsieur Bailly and Monsieur Lavoisier.
A usurer who shed so many tears for his lady.
Monsieur Necker, mourning his wife.
All bound to the anchor stone. Wretched souls, their ascension to the heavens repelled.
The anchor stone, monsieur?
Lapis philosophorum.
The philosopher's stone.
Aye! Vile knave who took it for his own lately. No count is he but that of trespass and perfidy.
Cagliostro.
Well met. The rope for this varlet and I shall be avenged. The anchor stone keeps the travelers in this limbo and makes them masters of the Iron Titans. From the defunct springs the fire that burns inside these demons. Lanterns of the dead. Witchcraft of the blackest sort.
The terrible slaughter. You say I was just observing the massacres?
Aye. Vile, innumerable crimes. The devil's own accursed titans and their restless horde. They drinketh from the lake where the souls of the dead sleep. Men and women offered in sacrifice to feed the pyre. Then the terrible maw was opened, and in flowed legion of the dead. Ne'er hast I seen such and so many here during all my stay. Oh. The stone is verily mine dark confine. Lonely, so lonely, that mine vessel is no more, and my soul still cloistered in this place. Alack, I do despair of ever ascending to heaven. Gentle dame, I prithee do shatter mine stone.
You want me to break the stone that contains your soul? Is that what you're asking me to do?
Aye, my God, I beg thee.
Do you know where this stone is? You've been buried for more than 3 centuries, monsieur.
The precious jewel, sublime treasure, was inscribed in my legacy, my testament. On my tomb engraved, gentle dame, on the tomb!
What a strange encounter.
Okay, so bunch of notes to pick up now. And then after this we're heading back to the convent.
Can I help you, Aegis?
The plan worked as we had hoped. My spirit left my body, and I traveled to the in-between.
This is extraordinary. It confirms all my theories.
You were right about the rest, too. Nicholas Flamel's soul had never left the in-between.
Mon Dieu, 4 centuries? What a fearsome fate. Were you able to speak with this unfortunate soul?
Yes, mon père. He claimed that I had been in purgatory for a long time, but had never spoken until then.
Please, go on.
He said he had met other visitors. Based on his descriptions, he was speaking of Monsignor de la Fare, Minister Necker, Monsieur Bailly and Monsieur Lavoisier. They all seemed unaware of his presence. All bound to the anchor stone. Those were his words.
All those whom Cagliostro turned into his homicidal playthings. Yes, it is just as I thought. The subject has the impression of being the automat it is bound to, but his soul remains in the in-between world.
Mon père, Monsieur Flamel begged me to free him from purgatory. He has suffered for too long.
How can we help him?
If he is to be believed, we would simply have to break his stone.
Of course, the Philosopher's Stone. The anchor stone that keeps him in the in-between. But where could it be after all this time?
Look at this, mon père. These are Philosopher's Stones made by Cagliostro's hand. Do they look familiar?
Heavens, they do. Aegis. The ancient chalice of Saint-Jacques is adorned with a similar stone. It was entrusted to me by the parish priests, along with some other relics. I stored it in a reliquary chest in this very room. Here's the key. Go. Let us not waste a second more.
Goodbye, mon père.
Alright, so let's check out the Philosopher's Stone.
Here it is.
4 centuries, Aegis. 4 centuries. No mind can begin to comprehend what this poor man has suffered.
Is this the fate that awaits us? An eternity of silence and solitude?
Purgatory is just a stop on the journey, Monseigneur.
Oh, I would give anything to believe it again.
Monsieur Flamel, the time has come to set you free.
Seigneur, Dieu nous garde.
Oh, blessed maid who has broken my chains! Heavenly light! Oh, heavenly light! I shall become one with it!
Et cum haec dixis et videntibus illis elevatus est.
And when he had spoken these things, while they beheld, he was taken up.
Hallelujah! Purgatory is not the end. Do you know what that means, Abbot?
Before I say anything, I would like to take the time to consider the phenomenon we have just witnessed with a clear head.
You are mistaken. What we have just seen and heard makes us new apostles. From this day on, I will live only to share the good news of this divine manifestation.
That is all well and good, Monseigneur. Alas, I will not be able to join your apostolate, for there is no mission more vital than the one we are undertaking. At a moment when the tyrant aims to annihilate his subjects, I have a duty to put deeds before prayer.
Alright guys, that is about it. Hopefully this episode made sense. Hope you all are doing well. Stay tuned, more coming at you. Take care.